Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to all for the inaugural function of International Conference on Communication, Image Processing and Computing, jointly organized by Electronics, IT and Computer Science Engineering Department of Walchand College of Engineering, Sangli. We are truly honored to have chief guest. So we are truly honored to have chief guest for today's inauguration, Mr. Vishwas Chitre sir. And as the conference is conducted in hybrid mode, so we have keynote address speaker for today's conference, Dr. U.B. Desai sir, connected in online mode. So I request our today's chief guest, Dr. Vishwas Chitre sir, and our in-charge director, Dr. Uday Dabre sir, along with the guest to please be on stage. Please welcome, sir. A very warm welcome to all dignitaries, esteemed guests, distinguished speaker, respected faculty members, and dear participants. It is my absolute honor to welcome you all to the much awaited International Conference on Communication, Image Processing and Computing. This conference serves as a dynamic platform for scholars, researchers, and industry experts for across the globe to exchange ideas, present groundbreaking research, and discuss the latest trends in communication, image processing, and computing. So, to begin this enlightened journey, let us invoke the blessing from Ma Saraswati. I invite our esteemed dignitaries onto stage for the traditional lamp lighting ceremony. या कुंदेंदु तुषारहार धवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणा वरदंड मंडितकरा या श्वेत पद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युत शंकर प्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वंदिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेष जाड्यापहा. As light symbolizes knowledge and we ignite this flame, we illuminate the path to innovation and discovery. Thank you, all the dignitaries. Moving forward to know our guest, it is our privilege to welcome our chief guest, Mr. Vishwas Chitre sir, who is the director of Chitre Agrotech Industry Private Limited, a visionary leader and an expert. I am feeling very privileged to introduce today's guest. Sir has completed his technical education from Dharwad University, Karnataka, from Electronics and Communication stream. Sir is having vast experience in course of food processing done at University in Sweden. He is a member of IEEE experience in Harvard Design, VHDL and embedded software, design experience of 5 years in radio frequency identification. Sir has worked on CPM, Novel and Window platform, programming in Pascal, C and VB languages. He's also worked extensively on computer networking, factory automation, and instrumental in building first computerized buffalo farm in the world. So he is currently serving the position for partner of MSBG Chitre, director of Chitre Agro Industry Private Limited, partner of Chitre Digitals, chairman for Digital Genius Private Limited. So I welcome our today's guest, and I'm feeling very honored to introduce our today's guest. So I request our director, Dr. Uday Dabde sir, to felicitate our today's chief guest, Mr. Chitre sir. Thank you so much, sir. It is time to understand about the conference. So I request Dr. S.G. Ruikar, sir, HOD Electronics Department, to present a welcome note. So please.
Good morning, all of you. Sounds not good. Good morning once again. Okay, thank you. Uh, Respected dignitaries on the dais, of the dais, I welcome all for this international conference, ICC IPC 2025. Since this conference we are organizing from last 6 months, and all the team members are involved here day and night. So I saying that this conference is successful because you people are here, and now today the inauguration event and the session and everything will be started. So we supposed to consider that this conference is a grand success, and we welcome all the participants here for this event here. So this conference we received total 277 number of papers, out of which we have accepted a 67 paper, and out of which 56 papers have registered. We received a paper not only from Maharashtra, from Telangana, from Andhra, from Odisha, from UP, from MP. So various states we received, as well as we have two international uh, registrations for this conference. So that's why we supposed to say that now our aim was international conference. So international conference aim successful because of the international registration with this event. And since it is a online and offline, so most of the people, they are interested in a of online, not a offline. So that's why less number of participants are here. Those are interested for the offline. So in terms of a number, so we have a 24 offline participant and a 32 online participant. Since this event is online for the online people, but this inaugural function is on a Zoom, but online sessions and everything, that various links are there, and already it is shared to the all members. So I again welcome all the members for this event, and we supposed to say that. So thank you for being here for this conference event. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for a great start and by knowing all the details regarding the ICCIPC 2025. With this understanding, I request our respected director, Dr. Uday Dabde, sir, uh, to please guide us.
Good morning to all. Dignitaries on the dais, chief guest of today's function, Vishwas Chitreji, online Professor Uday Desaiji, my faculty colleague, convener of this international conference, Dr. Ruikar, Dean R&D, Umbarkar, Registrar Tavankar sir, faculty members and participants present here for this hybrid international conference. First of all, let me congratulate all the organizing committee members for successful, at least for this till now, successful organization of this event. As per the statistics which has been provided by the convener, more than 200 papers, that is near about 276, has been received. And after going through the critical review, it has been decided to select near about 56 papers. Okay, that is a good count. And they have selected more than 80 plus reviewers across the India for review of the various papers received from, as mentioned rightly by convener, all over India, as well as the two participants from at international level. I have gone through the abstract, and it is observed that out of 56, 18 to 19 papers are in-house. Okay, and one most important thing, one paper is from Humanities Science Department, and that is a combination of mathematics, chemistry, and physics faculty members. That is a good sign that participation from humanities science is also there. So out of 18 papers from the in-house, one paper is from humanities science, and that is a good reflection. That means people and the faculty members are aware about the publications. At various forums, at the administrative council, we are always thinking for the publications, because what we observed during last 3-4 years, there is a drastically decrease in the publication, and the major focus of the management with support from the chairman is to enhance the publication numbers. And in line with that, from last 2 years, we have started organizing national. Initially, last year, we have organized 3 national conferences. And next step, we decided to go for international. And this is the first outcome on the 10th March 2025. So once again, I congratulate. Now, why such conferences are required? Through these conferences, we will get the opportunity to interact with the experts, to discuss with our peer fellows, as well as to listen the expert in this area. As rightly selected, that is Uday Desai sir, keynote address is there, and it will highlight more on the topic, that is communication, image processing, and computing. One thing which I observed, I was expecting the participation from across the different branches, but I think there is a few participation from interdisciplinary courses like mechanical or civil. Civil is also there, it is required. Civil is also required, civil, mechanical, and electrical. That is also important. And hope next time the organizing committee will take care of all this, because this nowadays, as rightly mentioned during our initial discussions with Chitra sir, he rightly mentioned that now these circuit branches have to think how this application can be incorporated for the other branches, and that is essential one. And in line with that, hope we will take care during organizing such type of the conference in the way of multidisciplinary approach. Now, why these publications are essential? Now, what do you mean by research? Earlier, there was a term research and development. R&D was there. Then later, this innovation, incubation, entrepreneurship came into the picture. Earlier concept was to do the research and develop. Okay, then what do you mean by research? Research means conversion of wealth into knowledge. Wealth means you are going to spend some money, investment. You are going to do some investment for knowledge. Whatever presentations today you are going to do through your paper is after going through some research, and for that research you are doing some investment. Okay, that is for experimental work, analysis purpose, and that is conversion of wealth into knowledge. Now, other thing, what do you mean by innovation? So innovation is reverse way, conversion of knowledge into wealth, and that is expected. After going through this conference, after getting some outputs, you have to try to convert this knowledge into wealth, conversion of knowledge into the wealth. With these few words, once again, I congratulate all the organizing committee members for this conference. I also thanks to the Chitreji as well as Uday Desai ji for sparing some time for this conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. As we already understood about our today's chief guest, we have a multidimensional personality with us today as a chief guest. So, to hear about the emerging technologies who directly applies everything into industries. So, I invite our chief guest, Mr. Chitre sir, to address the researchers and scholars. Sir, please.
Good morning. Respected dignitaries on the dais, honorable faculty members, research scholars, and dear students. It is a true honor to be here today as a chief guest for the international conference. So I have been involved in Walchand College for so many years. Now college is becoming international. So I'm very happy and I think this is the first conference or international? Third one. Third one. So the management has asked me to present for this conference. So it is a great privilege, and I'm very much thankful. So the whole conference idea is, where brilliant minds, academia, research, and industry converge to explore the latest advancement in the dynamic fields. The importance of communication, image processing, and computing is very immense. Technology is evolving at unprecedented rate, and the way we connect, making the world smaller through innovations in 5G, IoT, and satellite communication. In image processing, it is revolutionizing sectors like healthcare, security, and AI-driven automation, enabling applications such as medical imaging, facial recognition, and autonomous vehicles. I think in today's some of the research papers, I have came across two papers. One is about liver diseases by using breath analyzers. So I think the papers are also in that direction, where AI, image processing, and other allied computational technologies are used to make life better. In terms of computing, it is continuing to push boundaries with advancement in AI, quantum computing, and cloud technology. It is shaping the future of innovation. This conference will serve as a platform to discuss emerging trends, exchange ideas, and foster the collaboration that can be drive the real-world application of these technologies. The role of a research and innovation. Sir rightly said, you have a money, and you spend that money to acquire knowledge. Once you acquire knowledge, you want to sell that knowledge. So that is, I think, one of the best way to put it, because normally it has been taught in the industry is you need to acquire knowledge free of cost and sell it and make more money. So just 10-15 minutes back, when I was discussing with the sir, I said that it's very important to have AI training and how you train the systems. So training is very, very important. And I said that it is very important to have colleges like Walchand, where student gets AI training. So there is a parallels in the computation world, because the development of computing, development of communication, development of video processing is like human. So normally what happens is that the way we think, if you see the science fictions also, so it shows how technology is going to shape the future world. So in terms of you have two eyes, right? Okay, why you have two eyes? Because one eye can also do that same job. So you need three-dimensional depth measurement you require. So that's why we have two eyes. You have again 2 ears. Why we have 2 ears? Because we want to measure the distance from where sound is emanating. So if you take radar, and if you have a multi-array radar or multi-dimensional radar, then only it is possible to have distance measurement. So it is 2D or 3D can be done with. So human has evolved into the present form because of the innovation at genetic level. So same is with the institutes. So if the institutes are imparting or training the students in a better, it's kind of an AI model which you train computers, but same thing happens in the institutes. And it is paramount importance to train, students in all these faculties. And I think Walchand College of Engineering is doing that task for so many years. So let us delve into more detailed about communication. So what is communication? Communication is connecting the world in real time, right? So effective communication is a backbone of our interconnected society. Simply text message to high-speed data transfer, the evolution of communication technology has made instant global connectivity as a real. So many people, 2-3 years back when 5G was just getting introduced. So what is really 5G? So people always tell that 5G is fifth generation. So what is fifth generation actually? So it is fifth generation of communication and wireless technology, where endpoint is getting connected through wireless for a high-speed data transfer. So it is really important, and with 5G, you can deploy unprecedented speeds, ultra-low latency, and real-time application like remote surgeries, smart cities, and industrial automation. Now, research is focused on 6G, which aims to integrate AI-driven networks, holographic communication, and space-based internet connectivity. Internet of Things. So I think I discussed with IoT. So billions of devices are now getting connected, and through IoT, making smart homes, intelligent traffic systems, industrial automation is possible. Ability to seamless exchange data between devices in real time is with the IoT. So actually, from industrial perspective, IoT is IT plus OT integration. So IT stands for information technology and OT stands for operational technology. So many industries have silos of these two. So you have IT on one side and operational technologies on the other side. So once we integrate IT with the operational technology and derive more meaningful, data to improve the efficiency, then IoT is real meaning of IoT will take place. Second important thing is that satellite communication and quantum communication is really jumping well. So with Starlink, it is possible that you can have internet connectivity or connectivity to any remote places. So it is very important to have communication at very good rates. Just last couple of months, we are working on a project called DPDK. It's a uh, data plane development kit. So in network domain, what really happens is that if you want to have 100 gigabytes of communication happening on Ethernet devices for say IPS detections or intrusion prevention, it is possible with DPDK, and this development has taken place in 2000, around 2015, 11 to 15. DPDK development has came out, and we are able to achieve in Below about 100 gigabit, LAN to user with the same hardware with vector packet processing you can do. So it is very immaterial, where you are in today's world. With hybrid conference, it shows that you can be anywhere in the part of the world, but still you will able to communicate, and you can communicate at greater speeds. Now I come to image processing, the power of visual intelligence. This is an era where visual data dominates in all spheres of the life. Take medical imaging, AI-powered diagnostic tools, improve the disease detection rates, making early diagnostic like cancer, brain tumors, and retinal diseases is possible with medical imaging and healthcare, autonomous vehicles, and smart transportation. So this area is slowly developing, and we have been using a lot of image processing tools to scan the milk films, scan the data. So we have been using We have been in COVID time, because we are part of the essential industry. So we have been tasked to we have been tasked to serve the, society, and we had a very big issue of, attendance marking. So that's where, we used retina scanning, optical face detection, like schemes, so that, non-touch, attendance can be done. So these are areas where, it's very important to use technologies. And my earnest request to, sir, Davide sir, and the HOD electronics and other department, we are using a lot of cutting edge technologies, and we have one of the biggest lab in Asia, where, you have lasers, you have optics, you have biotechnology. So we are doing 6 queuing of Siemens pumps. So the size of the sperm is about 6 to 7 micron, and you need to scan these sperms and make female sperms only. So this lab is 25 kilometers from here, and it is biggest in Asia Pacific, which is not there in Japan also. So, so there is a technology, there is a people who are using it, and all these instruments are rebuilt or repaired here in Beloved, and some of our engineers have gone to even Australia to assemble. So, so it is possible that the institute like Valchan are producing very good students, which are being used by us, and they are getting acclaimed worldwide. So, in terms of security and surveillance, facial recognition has become norm now. So there are now more cameras in China to detect the humans than is basically for to do a social profiling. Then another area of image processing is in virtual reality, AR and VR applications, where a lot of industrial usage of AR VR is happening for training, and a lot of process plant designs are now using AR and VR technologies. So so this is where all the conference has been focused. Now coming to computing, and it is an engine of digital revolution. So computing is now, it's everywhere. It is now multidisciplinary. It is touching everybody's life. So what's really happening with the advancement in mobile technology? So the advertisement by Reliance or Jio was "Karlo Duniya Mukhi Mein," right? So the possibility of having that device which can fetch information from far-fetched worlds, and information gathering, processing. So if you want to have information within seconds, you can Google it, or now with the use of AI, you can have meaningful results. We have been using AI of lately in more areas, like we are trying to do data mining. So whatever the data we have, so we are trying to data mine them and have more meaningful research based on the data. So we do about 10 million transactions a year, and there is a possibility of uh, different transactions which are wrong. So technologies like blockchains are very important, and where all the data, the integrity of the data is very, very important. So a lot of work needs to be done in blockchain, and I think with cryptocurrency coming on horizons, it's very, very, very important to have blockchain knowledge imparted in the academia. A lot of research also needs so on edge computing. So what really happens is that whenever you want to do, say, ANPR, automatic number plate recognition, technology like facial recognition, moods detection. So even there is a possibility. I think there is one more research paper on societal tendencies. So I think it's very important to have these kind of data-driven approach and analysis by using computers. So my interest is into edge computing has really gone up. And when I was engineer, it was difficult, very difficult to get even 8085. And today now you have ARM processor with 24 cores. So in my college days, what now you use mobile was a computer given to us, and that too it was time shared. So it is impossible to imagine kind of compute you have. So world is now moving towards more of a software, because any life cycle, uh, Intel has coined the term which is called as a Moore's law, which states that computing will double, memory will double, price will go down, but theoretical limitations of Moore laws are there. So next decade will be of software. So more into infrastructure software, more into application software. So probably how we train our students in infrastructure software programming, edge device programming, and the price of compute today has really gone down. So right now we are doing a lot of innovation in terms of getting the complete stack uh, in terms of Kubernetes clusters, because there has been a lot of work on decentralization of computation as well as centralization of computation. So edge computing and centralized computing are competing with each other. So a lot of work is now happening in the world for Kubernetes clusters, containerized environments. So the discipline of electronics ENC has now totally revamped. So it is no more chip design, no more hardware design, and it is still required, but it is more of a software, because in a fundamental sciences like chip manufacturing, there has to be different disciplines, like you need physics, you need chemistry. So we really need to, institute needs to really focus on where exactly our resources, or where our students need more knowledge. From my point of view, the best engineering student or ability of TNC student to write application software is one of the best, because he really understands nitty-gritty of computation. Because the computer, I'm not saying that computer programming side or other sides are wrong, but the limitation of hardware is only known to ENC engineers better than other disciplines. So what really happens that the computer programming people or computer side people feel that there are infinite resources, infinite core counts which are available, which is not the really case. So how really you do optimization of programming, how you containerize them, how you scale them, because the world has changed. World has changed from thick to thin computing. So the interplay of communication, image processing, and computing is going to go at very skyrocket speed. Interdisciplinary solutions to all this is very important. So right from civil engineering, mechanical engineering, biology, it's very important. And I'm trying to share some of the new developments which are happening, being an international conference. There has been a lot of work going on gene editing, and with Casper 9 gene editing, there is a possibility of decoding what kind of diseases or what kind of information is stored in our DNA. And I came across 6 months back a company which was in xenotransplantation. And in xenotransplantation, they will produce kidneys, livers, hearts from pigs for human consumption. So because there is a dearth of organ availability, so every 2 minutes one person dies because of there are no organs, and all that requires computation. All that requires machine learning. So editing embryonic level is also possible, and I have seen labs which are producing embryos which are specific to diseases, like you have a gear cow which was edited for milk production or diseases possibility, even possibility of having individual color of animal is also possible, and possibly when it happens in animal it will happen into humans as well. So you can have different colored humans also possible. So that's where technology is moving. Once again, I extend my best wishes for successful implementation of this conference. May this conference ignite new ideas, foster collaboration, and inspire breakthrough that shape the future. Let's innovate, collaborate, and lead the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. As you said, AI is not just a tool, it's a partner for human creativity. As you have mentioned, sir, I feel very privileged to mention this in the inauguration, that from the research papers we have received, we have a great count of papers, which is a combination of AI with image processing and computing. So we will strive the purpose for the conference, because success in the AI era will belong to those who adopt, learn, and innovate continuously. Once again, thank you, sir. Now, I request Dr. A.J. Umbarkar, sir, Associate Dean, Research and Development, Walchand College of Engineering, Sangli, to please guide us.
Good morning, everyone. I have been assigned only 2 minutes, so I will take only 2 minutes. This conference, what I observed as a technical chair, 80 to 90% papers on AI/ML, and all papers, of course, when they are using AI/ML, definitely they will be using the AI/ML based search engines. Not only that, they all are using the AI tools which help them to write these articles. So there are pros and cons of every technology. When any technology comes, there are good sides and bad sides of the technology. So while we are reviewing all this paper, there are 125 plus reviewers were there. And we have used that Turnitin, which is actually telling us that whether the article are original or not. So what I found when we are observing all these things, every corner of the world is getting affected because of the AI/ML. How academics, how teaching, how students' mentality, how teachers' mentality is getting affected. This all we have to guess, and we have to plan our next journey. What I observed, no one can be away from the AI/ML technology, and we should use this AI/ML technology in our domain wherever it is possible. And we should always search in the domain, our domain, using this AI/ML tool. What world is doing in this using this tool is very big. We can found that China has introduced its AI/ML model and destroyed the economy. So like that, there are lots of impacts that are happening because of this AI/ML world, and one should not be away from this. And being an Dean, Associate Dean R&D and Technical Chair, I will request all participants, including the teachers, students, and all leaders, that they should think of the policy of AI/ML using in their domain. So with this, I will stop here. Thank you very much for the organizer for giving me the chance. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now it's time to inaugurate the souvenir. So I request all the dignitaries on stage to proceed for the souvenir opening ceremony. Please give a big round of applause. Thank you, all the dignitaries. Now we will move toward the hybrid mode to listen from our online speaker. So I request all the dignitaries on the dais to please take the audience seats for smooth switching of hybrid mode. So today we have Dr. U.B. Desai sir, who is the founding director of IIT Hyderabad. Before listening to sir, it is important to understand about our keynote speaker, Dr. U.B. Desai sir. Dr. U.B. Desai sir received the BTech degree from Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, India in 1974, the MS degree from the State University of New York uh, in 1976, and PhD degree from Johns Hopkins University in 1979, all in electrical engineering. He was the founding director of IIT Hyderabad from June 2009 to June 2019. For nearly 5 years, he served as the mentor director from IIT Chittoor, Sri City. He was also mentor director from IIT Bhilai during its initial setting up phase. At present, he is professor at IIT Hyderabad. He will also he is also honorary professor in University of South Korea. He also served as a strategic consultant for TSDSI, that is Telecom Standards Development Society in India. He is academic advisor for several institutions of India. So our guest of honor, our keynote speaker for today's inaugural function. I request today's Dr. U.B. Desai sir to please guide us. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me share my presentation first. Let me see if I can. Okay, here we go. Okay, are you able to see my presentation? Okay. Yeah. Hello.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Let me go to full screen and see if things work out well. Okay, is the full screen thing available visible clearly?
No, sir.
Oh, full screen is not visible clearly. Huh?
Yes, yes, sir. It is visible now.
Now it's visible, na? And I'll just test one more thing. Is the changing of slide working? I've changed my slide at my end. Is the slide changing at your end?
No, no, sir. It's not changing still.
Oh, not changing now, huh?
Yes.
Is it changing or not?
Please. No, no, sir.
Oh.
Sir, can you
Huh?
start the slideshow?
Yeah, I started the slideshow only.
No, it is not showing. Can you go up and down so that we can?
That's what I've been doing. Not.
The slideshow is on, that symbol is there, or you go to
Yeah, yeah,
the.
that's what I did. I tried the slideshow. It is there. I'm going up and down. Normally it
But
works.
it's not coming on screen.
So why it is not coming on your screen? Let me stop sharing and try again. Mm. Okay, let's see if this works.
Sir, when you are sharing, please share the entire screen.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that in the entire screen. This is not showing up. When I do Windows, this is showing up. Yesterday it was working when I did. Okay, I'm going for full screen now.
Your screen is visible now, sir.
So I'm going for slideshow. Let's see. Uh, okay. Is this okay now? Slideshow, full screen?
No, sir. We cannot actually see the slideshow. After slideshow,
I don't know what it is. I'm not able to.
so actually this all these slides are visible in the same mode. So
Yeah, I mean they are visible right now in this
yes,
mode,
yes,
which is
it is visible.
not this changing thing is working okay.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, but in full screen it is not working, huh?
Yes, it is not
Let
working
me.
in full screen, but it is visible, sir, to everyone. So you can
No, no, what
directly
I'm going to do,
proceed with.
let me try once more because I think some of the fine prints may not be visible clearly. So I'm going to stop sharing. I will just log out and re-log in. Sometimes that helps. I'm not too sure. Let me try that. Okay, so I
Okay,
will
sir.
leave now and I'll come back again. Okay. Yeah. Now let me see if I can share the screen. Yeah, entire screen if I'm doing, I'm not able to see the, if I do Windows, huh? Windows maybe nahi aa raha hai. Why is this PPT not showing in Windows? Okay, now it is showing in Windows. Okay. You should be able to see the, are you able to see me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let us try full screen once more. If not, I'll, any chance of seeing the full screen or the slideshow?
We can see the slideshow, but
Huh,
not full screen, sir. But it is visible. It's okay.
it's okay, huh? Is the slide changing? No.
No, sir.
Okay. Mm. Okay, let me try this. Is the slide changing?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So I'll just stick to this and see what I can do. Try to minimize this part here. Okay, this is a little unfortunate. Yeah, this
It's
is the,
okay, sir. It's visible now. You can go
yeah.
ahead.
Okay, so I'll start with this. So okay, let me start my talk. Yeah, I don't know why it is behaving this way today, and there's nothing else I can do to. I'm trying to see if I can make this little bigger. No, mm, always show ribbon. Let me see if I don't see the ribbon. Full screen mode. Let's see if that works. Is this better? Oh, तो गड़बड़ी हो गया.
Yes, sir.
Maybe the other one was better, I think. Okay, it's better. Literally. Okay, so let me just start without wasting further time. So what I thought today, I will talk very in a very broad sense, which will have communication, image processing, AI embedded into the whole thing, and I'll talk a bit about AI also. Okay. So broadly, what I'll talk about is what I refer to as deep technology, and that is what is affecting all of us. Since this is one of those, inaugural talks or a keynote talk, I just want to give a very broad perspective rather than getting into nitty-gritty of image processing or nitty-gritty of, artificial intelligence, nitty-gritty of computing, communication, etc. Okay. Uh, so what I would say, what are the this is the slide. I hope you're able to read some of these boxes because are you able to read it, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay. See, what is happening, there are large number of technologies which have come forward, and some of them are in the areas of communication, some are in the areas of computing, okay, some are in the areas of image processing, which is the theme of your conference, okay. But there is a huge gamut of things which are interrelated and are affecting us and society. For example, AI, which is one of the big things that is being talked about, generative AI. Chat GPT and all is kind of passe. We want to go beyond generative AI. Okay. So one is trying to move into AI general intelligence in some sense, which is a much harder thing. And that is also a bit of a fearsome thing. Data science, that's well known. I will not spend time on it. Okay. Cyber physical systems, I will spend some time on CPS. Okay. And talk about some examples of CPS that are being worked at IIT Hyderabad. The other one is semiconductor technology. I will just briefly allude to that. I'll spend a bit of time on 6G. Okay, that is coming in one form or the other. Already 5G is there. All of us are using 5G and are being impacted by 5G. Quantum computing, a fair amount of talk is going on. Blockchain, Web 3.0. Now, Web 3.0, one has been hearing it for some years, but for some reason, it has not taken off. It is still taking time to kind of reach us in a way. Cyber security is like an underlying layer which is going to impact any technology, excuse me, that we will indulge in. Okay. The other one which is coming up and which is closely linked to image processing, and that's the next level, is like metaverse. Okay, what we talk about digital humans, artificial humans, augmented reality, virtual reality, etc. Smart mobility is a big thing, and smart mobility depends very heavily on image processing, communication, various kinds of automation, and other things. Another big thing which is coming in is natural language processing, and I'm not going to get into much on it, but that's another huge area. We have people have been working, and also in India for almost, I would say, 25 years. Okay, but the progress has been rather slow. It is, but it's a much harder problem. It's not that easy to replicate what we humans do with languages into the computer. Okay, neuromorphic computing is coming in a big way, and what one is hoping is that neuromorphic computing will offer a different paradigm for AI computing, as opposed to today what is happening in AI computing. We use general processing, general GPUs, graphical processing units, rather than CPUs. So almost all NVIDIA machines and machines which are coming from AMD and other companies, okay, which we call as AI computers, are based on GPUs. But then there is a strong belief that neuromorphic computing will be far more useful, particularly when we are looking at AI applications to specific domains. Like if you want AI application to automobiles, we may have to do it differently. AI application to biology, we may want to do it differently. Their neuromorphic chips will play a big role. A lot of work is going on in India. I may not have time to cover that. Advanced materials, which is not related to the theme of your topic, but in a sense, it plays an underlying role. Simply like a very simple thing, the screen on which you are viewing, the screen that I am viewing, requires advanced materials. Okay. The various devices that we have requires advanced materials. And so it's a huge topic, somewhat unrelated to the theme of your conference, but one should keep in mind. IoT is related to the theme of your conference. IoT uses image processing. It's a computing at a very, very different level, very small level in a way, compared to general purpose computing. 3D printing, again, it seems a little far away from the theme of your conference, but it has some relationship to it. 3D printing is there. It is not impacting society as dominantly as communication and computing that we have been talking about. But a lot of 3D printing work is going on. Again, the takeoff has been slower than anticipated, in my opinion. A few years ago, about a decade ago, I thought that this will really overtake and we'll see a large amount of 3D printing, but it is there. The biggest achievement in 3D printing is printing, 3D printing live cells in some sense. At the extreme case, one may see that if you're doing a heart transplant, today we look for a donor and we look for matching. In principle, if 3D printing works, we can actually 3D print the heart of a person in which we want to do a heart transplant. Okay. Gene editing is another big thing. A lot is happening. India has been very slow on the takeoff in gene editing, and I'll talk about it. It broadly goes under the technology called CRISPR-Cas9. Sensors now, though you talk about communication, you talk about computing, image processing, but nothing works without sensors. They're all prevalent. And I think India needs to put a big thrust into sensors because most of our sensors are still imported along with chips. Clean energy, I'll very briefly mention a bit about it. Space technology, very briefly. Space technology as related to communication. So I won't get into broad space technology. Then autonomous AI agents, prompt engineering, these are minor topics that are coming into picture. If you look at pluses and minuses, each technology has its pluses and some minuses. So what I have here, a bit of a perspective on it, not a comprehensive perspective. Okay. and we are looking at different domains. The white things are the technologies, and the what we have in black letters are kind of the negative impact. Healthcare today, healthcare has been revolutionized completely because of various, image processing, computing, communication, etc. Massive advances have taken place. Essentially, all your scanning that occurs and all the radiology and the diagnosis that occur is because of image processing on scans. It's a very much harder topic than image processing on normal images. Okay, but the unfortunate part, it has not reached the underserved. By and large, people, for example, who are involved in this conference have access to these scanning technologies. But the rest of the country, does not have, a large amount of country does not have easy access to it. AI and automation, it is coming in. India is a bit slow on takeoff, but if you go to countries like China, China is now talking about what they call dark industries. That is, the whole industry is completely automated. It is working without any lights. The robots are just functioning, right? You don't need lights for the robots to function. They have been programmed, and hardly any people out there to monitoring. So very little. So they call them as dark industries. I don't know how they're going to be. A little scary. But negative impact is to be seen, in the sense unemployment will be there and we have to look at alternate employments. Industry 5.0, again related to AI and automation. I put it separately, but the two are very closely linked. And negative impact on employment, and we'll have to look at how we skill our population, our youngsters, so that they can be actively employed in Industry 5.0. Biotechnology is very big. Gene editing can be used for, curing cancer, curing all kinds of hereditary diseases, congenital diseases. At the same time, it can be used for some very negative things and a bit scary also. Communication and computing, which is already there. And one minor thing which we all talk about is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, they say ADHD. This is a common acronym all of you may be using, and all of us are in some sense suffering from ADHD, some extreme, some minor. Space exploration is very big. Okay, we have to see space debris is, for example, the negative impact that is coming in. Okay, and we have to see how that's going to pan out. Smart transportation and mobility, very big. It will have some impact on climate, positive as well as negative, the way we design smart transportation. Okay. Privacy and security. Now, this is very, very big and is already facing an impact. I mean, every day we hear something or the other, somebody has been conned out of their money or some other things because of lack of proper security. Privacy is a different topic. I won't even get into it. Fast-paced life and adaptability. What has happened because of all these technologies, if you look at it, our life has become too fast. Okay, and what is worrying is you will be reading in papers that nowadays people at age 35, 37 are getting heart attacks. Usually, heart attacks were thought of people who would be in their mid 50s. That was supposed to be very earlier, typically mid 60s. But because of this, so it's not because of food and other things, but this fast-paced life is creating a different problem. So again, we need to balance it out. So technology has its pluses and minuses. That is what I wanted to emphasize on this layer. Let me get into now how technology comes about. So this is my theme of the talk is innovation and invention. Okay, everything revolves around power of an idea. Unfortunately, what happens in our system, particularly in India, we do not let out of the box ideas develop. We have a very structured mode of education. You must do this, you must do this, you must do that. Our education system is packed with all kinds of courses. There's hardly any time for people to think of new ideas. I think we need to restructure our education system where we encourage our youth to think of new ideas, and that requires space and time, which we don't give. If you look at our system, the teachers are occupied around the clock, the students are occupied around the clock, and we think we are doing a great job. Unfortunately, in my opinion, we are not. I disagree with many of the others who have designed this. Like 160 credits, in my opinion, is too much. Okay, and now, but there are some vice chancellors of private university arguing for more than 160, and I think it's going to be a disaster to our education system by simply packing. We'll create a generation and generations, after that, where they don't have the capacity to think out of the box. I think we need to look at that. Let me give some examples of thinking out of the box. This is an example which didn't quite succeed in the market. In real life is Nano. I must compliment Tata's for taking this project, and that's why I always have this in my presentation. It was a very bold thing when the nano car was being developed. And the reason I say very bold, it actually shook up the auto industry. I had colleagues at Ford Motor Company and GM in the US, and they were saying at that time, this was almost about 15, 20 years ago, they hardly had a meeting at Ford in US without talking about the nano car that Tata was developing. And that's the kind of worry they had about the nano car. They were all very happy that the nano car did not succeed in the market. And there was tremendous R&D that went into a nano car. Okay, I think the Tatas, from what I hear, is they're trying to bring it back with some other flavor. Nowadays you must have seen a version of Nano which is there from I think MG, if I'm not mistaken, a Chinese car which has come in, and there are some of the some people have already bought it. Essentially, it looks like a Nano but has a lot of bells and whistles. Much more expensive, costing almost 10 lakhs. Nano was supposed to be about 2 lakhs at that time. Okay. A lot of patents were filed. So a big engineering innovation, a big kind of what you would call impacting thing that were being done. Okay. But market is market, and it didn't succeed. Just give me a second. I'll just be back in a minute. Okay. So, you know, the next one which I'd like to talk about, this is something which was done and it has a big impact. Lab on a chip was developed by Professor Shiv Govind Singh at IIT Hyderabad to detect COVID in less than about 10 minutes. So what you see, let me see if I can, I won't be able to get, I hope you can see my cursor out here. Okay, this is the lab on a chip. So you have your saliva on it, stick it into this part, go on your phone. The phone connects to the cloud. Okay, so you have your communication coming in, you have your computing coming in, the two themes of the conference. The cloud does all the calculations, communication, everything, and in 15 minutes they get back the report saying that whether you have COVID or not. A lot of testing was done by CCMB at IIT Hyderabad, that is the Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology. Okay, so these are the kinds of things, traditional computing, traditional communication, traditional image processing is very different. But these are the kinds of applications of all the three themes that you have for your conference are becoming more and more significant when you cross barriers and get into other domain. Okay, this was quite successful, but then you can't use it unless you get certain approvals. Okay, I think last time I talked to Shiv Govind Singh, has got approvals. My feeling is, of course, COVID is no more, so the application of this will be limited. But okay, this concept has a lot of other applications, and he's already working on this, for using these kinds of concept for detecting adulteration in various products that are coming out, liquid products, solid products, semi-solid products, etc. Like milk is one example. The other one, this is my favorite slide out here. This is the story of this British engineer Godfrey Hounsfield. CT scan, we have all heard of it. We all, it is likely that everybody in the family, somebody had CT scan. It's become so prevalent today, CT scan. It is no longer something which only the affluent will use it, but the common man also has to use the CT scan. And the doctors sometimes prescribe it quite easily. How it started, what Hounsfield was trying to do, he was wondering whether one could detect hidden areas in the Egyptian pyramids by capturing cosmic rays that pass through it. Essentially, the fundamental problem was, here is a box. Let's talk about it like a pyramid. Can I see what is inside the pyramid? Okay, without opening the box. Okay, obviously I cannot break open the pyramid to see what is inside the pyramid. Then I'll destroy the pyramid, right? Same token, I can't cut open human beings all the time to see what's inside, but can I still see what's on the inside and get a good idea of what is happening? And then I develop a treatment accordingly. The doctors can develop a treatment accordingly. Okay, this was the main idea. Okay, it didn't work well for a long time. He sort of hung on to that idea, kept on experimenting, kept on doing it. And what happened was, this is the idea which led to computer tomography. So something which was meant, the thought pattern was that they started with trying to see what is inside the pyramid. Okay, eventually came down to looking at what is inside the human body out here. So as I say, ultimately he did figure out how to use high energy rays to reveal what's invisible to the naked eye. And the first tomography image, your image processing comes in here. The CT scan of the human brain was made in October 1, 1971, long time ago. 55 years ago, almost 54 years ago. Okay. And it has been working tremendously well. Today they are much more affordable than they were 25 years ago. And now different kind of scanning has come in. The fundamental logic is the same, except the technology that is used for scanning is something very different. Like MRI is another scan, which is very common. Let's do an MRI, right? That's very common that the doctor talks about. Okay. So you start somewhere, you ask a simple question like, can I see something in a box without opening the box? Very simple question. Okay. Then you talk about how to do it. And what you talk about how to do it suddenly lands up looking at a box very, very different than the box you started with. So research and innovation, invention innovation is a very interesting phenomenon. You start somewhere, you land up somewhere, you ask a very simple question, and the answer to that turns out to be a fairly complex or what we call deep technology today. Computers are another one. Can I just add numbers? Can I add large number of numbers? There are some human beings who, like I forget the name of the lady who was very, she could add and multiply large numbers. Most of us can't do that. We need to take recourse either by pen and pencil or calculators, etc. And then complex numbers and computers came up. Of course, the first, the names like Babbage, Turing, all of you know of them. The first computer was ENIAC, and then the ENIAC was based on the name called Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer. That's the first, and this was based on vacuum tubes. Okay, this computer had a power which was much, much less than what your laptop has today or your cell phone, for that matter. But you can see the size of this computer. It is, it had very little memory because it was based on vacuum tubes. I think not many in the audience may remember what are vacuum tubes. Okay, I mean, people of my generation grew up on vacuum tubes. Okay. Huge, bulky, they will heat up, then they'll go off. We had to let them cool off and then restart, etc., etc. But I leave that out. But today we have come a long way. This is what is coming in. I think I've put it as CubeSats. I'll talk a little bit more about it. Basically, space communication. The whole idea is that can you use your ordinary smartphone, which all of us have in our pockets, okay, to actually connect to other people using satellites. Okay, today SATCOM, or what you call satellite communication equipment, is highly restricted, primarily used by defense and defense-related organizations. Or you can talk about it that SATCOM is primarily meant for strategic organization. Okay, but this is now coming in, and I think it's not too far away. I'll talk about already. Vodafone has demonstrated that. I'll come to that in a minute. The most recent thing is quantum computing, right? I think everybody talks about quantum computers. So on the left, what you see is the IBM quantum computer. Okay, they are one of the world leaders in quantum computing. And on the right, I have a picture of a simple quantum computer that has been developed at IISc. It's about a 5-qubit. What IBM has, the last I heard, IBM is talking about maybe 1,000 qubit. Okay. The picture is not of 1,000 qubit. The picture is, I think, about of 100 qubit or something. But what we have on the right in India at IISc, it's a common project between the Raman Research Institute in Bangalore and Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. And what we have is on the right, when the T-shirt is Vibhor Singh. On the left is a former student of mine from IIT Bombay, Ketan Singh Thakur. He did his MTech. Then there is PhD at, I think, in US or something, and then he is associate professor at IISc. And the group leader is Apurva Patel. He's a physicist. Okay. So this is coming in a big way. India has a big quantum mission. I presume all of you have heard of it. It's about 6,000 crores or 4,600 crores. I forget the exact number. I think 4,600 crores. Yeah, last I heard the budget was reduced. So it's a mission where large number of the 4 nodal agencies have been identified for quantum computing work. It's IIT Madras for quantum key cryptography. Then you have IIT Bombay for materials, material that will be used in quantum computing. Then IISc Bangalore for actually developing the quantum computer, and IIT looking at sensors for a quantum computer. And then related to them, so like a hub and spoke model. These are the 4 big hubs, and there are another 100 institutes distributed across the country at different levels, associated with one of the hubs or not, totally. So it's a huge project where large number of institutes are involved in it, and it's very hopeful that India will have some really competitive quantum computer coming in the next few years. So if you look at the progression, I think many of you are familiar with it, so I won't get into it. What we are living through is what one would call the 4th industrial revolution, what you see at the bottom of my slide. Industry 4.2 or something. And this involves things like broadly cyber physical system, and the components are AI, sensors, IoT, blockchain, quantum computing, and much more. All these complex things are coming in. So we are kind of moving a step forward from so-called the information revolution, the computer revolution. Of course, they do form the basis. None of the revolutions go away. The first industrial revolution is still being used. The steam engines are not there, but we have internal combustion engines, essentially the same principle. Okay, so it's not that when we get into a new revolution, all of the older revolutions have gone away. No, they do exist in a different form. They may not have the high level importance that we had given to them at one time. Okay, so if you look at it, maybe due to paucity of time, we have started a little late, so I'll kind of skip some of these. Harbinger of deep tech, in my opinion, and this is a biased opinion, I'm an electrical engineer, and I presume a lot of audience is also electrical engineering because you're talking of image processing, computing, computer science and electrical engineering, let's put it that way. The two big things which impacted the world that we are living in today and everything that we are talking about, every technology that we are talking about today, is information theory and transistor. Okay, these two things have had a huge impact. It's hard to imagine technologies which have had a bigger impact than this. Okay, transistor, came way back. Okay, the first patent was way back in 25, but in 47 is Bardeen, Britton, and Shockley at Bell Labs. Okay, three of them got the Nobel Prize for it, also developed, and this is how ugly the first transistor looked like. This is an image from from Google Images. You can also download this image. Nothing big about it. Okay, and this is how the original transistors used to look like. The top one is for power amplifiers. We used to use this big transistor from Motorola, and the other one are the small ones that we used in our experiments. Those are passe. Okay, the first commercial one came in 54. Okay, from 1954 to say 2024. Okay, huge revolution. Earlier one had circuits, printed circuit board with discrete transistor. Today, the chip in your cell phone, you probably have a Snapdragon chip in your cell phone, or you have a MediaTek chip, or you have Exynos chip from Samsung. They have at least about 2 billion transistors in that one chip, which governs your cell phone. Okay. So from discrete transistors having 10, 20, 15, 30 transistors on a printed circuit board, we have a chip which has 2 billion, and we have achieved this from between, a lifespan of about 80 years, maybe 75 years. So it's a huge achievement that we have had in a short term. And the impact of this, today there is not a single person, okay, who is not carrying some transistors on their body. Even if you are wearing a very cheap electronic watch, it is full of transistors. But of course, cell phone, India has about 1 billion people having cell phones, about maybe 600 or 700 million people carrying smartphones. So that itself takes care of billions and billions of transistors. Information age, the beginning of information age was with Claude Shannon, who developed this. And it's interesting, how did Claude Shannon, I've written few things out here, don't worry about it. What I like is this basic thing, which I should have written here. See, Claude Shannon, when he came in the picture, at that time, the slide which I talked about, everything was based on energy. So his thing was that, okay, if someone looks at, for example, if I give you, 100 ml of gasoline, of petrol, I can mathematically tell you amount of energy which exists in that 100 ml of gasoline. He says, now if I see an electrical signal on an oscilloscope, I can tell between two signals which signal has more information than the other. That is intuitive and a very crude answer. But he says, can I mathematically calculate the amount of information in a given electrical signal? That is a simple question that Claude Shannon asked. For 2 years, he worked on that question and he came up with this theory that we call information theory, which is the backbone of theoretical development for every technology in information technology that we are dealing with today, including quantum theory and quantum computing. It's a phenomenal impact that had. He happened to be an electrical engineer, therefore he didn't get a Nobel Prize. If he were a physicist, he would have got it. Maybe he would have, in today's time, he might have got it. Recently the Nobel Prize was given to two people in artificial intelligence. They were not physicists, they were computer scientists, but they got the Nobel Prize because they used ideas from physics and came up with something which had a massive impact on the society. Jeffrey Hinton and Bonjour, and I will mention their names as we go along. The other areas which I think we should be aware of, though this conference does not relate it to, is there are a lot of things happening in biology. Your healthcare is dependent on all these things which are happening in biology. And I will not, I'll get into it a bit later on. Okay. So very quick chronology of this thing. When we started, it was called GoFi, good old fashioned AI, rule based AI. Then came artificial neural networks. I think IIT Bombay, myself and Punacha were the first to kind of talk about, and they taught in 96, 97, 98 time frame, around that time, the first course on artificial neural networks. Very popular, a large number of students took it and it worked out quite well. Okay. And that is the harbinger of what we are talking about AI today. I'll briefly mention what revolution that has actually taken place. Okay. Things like backpropagation algorithm are still talked about in AI. Supervised learning is still talked about in AI. Unsupervised learning is still talked about in AI. Bayesian machine learning still talked about by Judea Pearl. Judea Pearl got the Turing Award, I think, a couple of years ago. Names, and I think one should be aware of people who contributed, large number of people. If you go back, there were people like Norbert Wiener, Claude Shannon, and the word that they used at that time was not AI, the word was thinking machines. Moment computers came, that ENIAC computer came, immediately people started talking about thinking machines. And the thinking machine vocabulary then got morphed into what we call today as artificial intelligence. And that is where people on the right hand side came in, particularly people like Papert, Rumelhart, McClellan, Hoffield, those names became very, very popular. In more recent times, you have, Yoshua Bengio, that's what I read. He got the Nobel Prize, and Jeffrey Hinton. They got the two of them got the Nobel Prize. I think not this year. I think a year before. So I think a lot of work, and then you have people like Jan LeCun who came up with deep learning, etc., and a whole bunch of names that are out here. Okay. And what are we looking at? Basically, we are still in the world of artificial narrow intelligence. That's what ChatGPT is doing. We want to go to generative AI, which is much more complicated. We want to go to AI, general artificial intelligence, which is very high. That includes power of reasoning, problem solving, abstract thinking, which is what humans pride themselves. That's what we have. Biological beings have. I mean, lower animal forms also have some of these abilities of, reasoning, solving a problem, abstract thinking. I mean, even whales have it, dolphins have it. It's not simply humans. We have not even reached that level. And of course, about which we are all scared of, and a lot of movies and books have been written, and many philosophical people have been scaring the world with that item number 3, which I think is a long, long way and perhaps may never happen. What is the whole thing based on? It's quite, you have a neuron. For a neuron, you have this simple model. Okay, and this simple model is called a perceptron. I forget, I think it was maybe Minsky and Papert who probably proposed this perceptron model. Okay, I could be wrong out here. I need to double check on that. Okay. So it's a very simple model of a neuron. If you look at neuron, what it does, every neuron has large number of inputs, which are electrical signals. And when those inputs add up and reach a certain threshold, the neuron itself now fires another electrical signal. Okay. Now that is what is being modeled out here. So if you see, these are the inputs to the neuron, which is this whole thing. Two things put together: the sigma and this S-shaped curve out here. Sigma is what you do is you do a weighted average of these things. So we have kept it linear. Why? Simply because we can do analysis. There is no other reason. The neuron doesn't function in a very nice linear manner. So you do a linear addition of all this, weighted linear addition. The weights are W0 up to Wm. Then you have a non-linearity out here. There are different kinds of non-linearity. The most popular non-linearity is what I've given out here, called the sigmoidal function. And when the non-linearity puts out certain output, okay, and based on that output, which is then given to different parts of the network. So this is the basic neuron. You combine all these neurons. So each circle here represents a neuron on the previous slide. Okay, and you create a multi-layer perceptron network out here. So you can see, there are a whole bunch of this. Now, what happens is when we taught artificial neural network way back in the late 90s, okay, we used to have a 3-layer network with maybe, 100 neurons working on a 33 megahertz computer. So we could hardly do much, but we could just demonstrate certain things, showing that, hey, things can happen. And it took ages. Sometimes we used to run the whole program for a very simple network like this with 3 layers, not even 4 layers that you see out here, and having maybe less than 100 of these circles or 100 of these neurons out here. Okay, and it would take about a day. And given India, suddenly the power will go out computers will go off, then we have to start the whole thing all over again. So many times in Span Lab, we used to run it for 2-3 days. I mean, it will go on. The actual running was for one day, but sometimes we keep on doing it and get some results. Today, that has changed. This is the big change has occurred. Some theoretical development, convolutional neural networks, deep learning that I mentioned earlier. But the fundamental change is phenomenal processing power. We don't talk about megabits today. We're talking about gigabits and terabits. You have gigabit of memory on your cell phone. Forget about laptops and central computers. Central computers talk about terabytes and terabits of storage. Phenomenal memory storage, both RAM and permanent storage. Okay, extremely fast processors. We did have, we had 33 megahertz processor. Today, nobody even talks of megahertz, right? You talk of gigahertz. Okay, and we're moving forward from gigahertz. And GPU-based computing, it didn't even exist. The word graphical processing unit was not even there. It was simply ordinary CPU that we had, Intel processor over there, what you call this Pentium processor. Another problem we had was we didn't have it, access to huge data. Okay, India still struggles. We have huge data, but our data is in such a diverse form and kind of disintegrated form that to really make something out of it is a hard task. There is a huge project given to IIT Bombay, costing I think about 230 crores or 220 crores. Okay, where IIT Bombay is trying to develop India's first LLM. Okay, the way ChatGPT exists, using data from India, and I think they will be successful. A lot of money is there, but main problem is computing. My main worry with that problem is data. Models are known to us. We can also develop our own models. No issue with that particular part. Computing facility, we are okay. We can, we have terabytes compute. Petabytes are there. We don't have terabytes of computing, but we can string together petabytes of computers. Like CDAC has developed set of petabytes of computing, and do good work. But data is my biggest worry, and this data requires a lot of manual work for annotation. Curating data is not an easy job. Okay, you have image data, and it's still a laborious task. A lot of manual work is required. It is not completely automated right now. Okay, even I remember talking to people at Google who do Google Maps. Google employs thousands and thousands of people for Google Maps. We all use Google Maps. The curating of Google Maps is still done manually. It may be on a computer, but I have to mark it, I have to see, visually and mark it, etc. So it's a very tedious, time-consuming job. That is the only concern that I have. But otherwise, expertise is there, computing power is there, models are there to develop India's LLM. Uh, so what are we doing when we talk about an AI, computer vision, which is like another way of saying image processing, okay, and various different subtopics are there. One of the hardest thing, and we have not quite resolved it computing completely, is image understanding. When I see an image, we understand it, right? A lot of things we interpret it, and there are a lot now. That kind of thing, I mean, I had students who worked on it at one time at IIT. We wrote a book also on it on image interpretation. I think Sunil Kumar and Vinay Kumar are the co-authors. Okay, but long way to go. We have some of it, but we still don't have as much. In spite of all the development that have taken place, it's a much harder problem. Audio processing. This is simply your phone listening, some piece of music, identifying it, etc. For example, today you hear some music. There is an app called, I think, Shazam or something. I'm not very good at this. Some name is there. You may know, the youngsters will know better. And you can just start that app, listen to the music, okay, and the app will immediately tell you, which movie it is, who is the lyricist, who is the music composer, etc., etc. All the information about the music can be obtained simply by this app which listens to music. This is audio processing. NLP I talked about earlier, autonomous navigation, big use of AI out there. Healthcare, heavy use of AI coming in out there. Radiologists are all worried, that what will happen to the radiologists that exist today. Smart cities, various projects are there. Smart agriculture, and the list can go on. I just gave a very brief out here. Okay, I'll just leave it out here. A lot of areas are open for AI research, and I'm assuming at Walchand you will kind of get many students and faculty will be working on it. Let me quickly go through cyber-physical systems. Cyber-physical systems are now complex systems. Computing becomes a component out there. So different components of the cyber-physical systems are sensing, control, more traditional communication, computing. What has happened now, artificial intelligence has also become part of CPS. AI was earlier not there. It came into picture a little later because AI matured. It was there, but required huge computing power which didn't exist when CPS came into picture. Okay, but now AI is coming in because AI can run on, you can have a bit of AI running on your cell phone. Okay. So this would be, and in some sense, the theme of your conference covers, I would say, CPS. I'm not sure if you have some papers on CPS, perhaps you do. Okay. CPS applications are all over, aerospace. Aerospace perhaps was the first one to use it because their cost considerations are very different. You can't do frugal engineering for aerospace. You can talk about frugal engineering for agriculture, but aerospace you can't because lives are at stake out there. And you can see what has happened because what Boeing did was got into frugal engineering, and you have heard about what has happened with Boeing aircrafts. Okay. Healthcare, heavy usage of cyber-physical agriculture. This is the picture of the work that we had done at IIT Bombay in Span Lab for several years. So what you see up here, this is picture of grapevine. This is Sula Vineyard in Nashik. And we had a big project where we actually set up all these sensors. I can tell a long story of it. I won't get into that right now. Okay. Smart vehicle, V2V communication, smart mobility, then autonomous navigation. I'll talk about drone taxis and other things a bit. Smart buildings, so another example of cyber physical systems, and the list goes on. Practically every closed loop system that you see, which is a functional system involving computing, sensing, communication, etc., okay, would be a cyber physical system. Okay. So this I'll talk about. There's a big center which has been set up at IIT Hyderabad called TIHAN, which stands for Technology Innovation Hub for Autonomous Navigation. So Government of India started this huge project on what we call NMICPS, that is National Mission on Interdisciplinary Cyber Physical Systems. They give a long name, but essentially it is CPS. 25 hubs, innovation hubs have been set up in the country, and I was the chair of the scientific advisory where we reviewed hundreds of proposals, okay, and finally selected 25 hubs. Practically all IITs have one hub. Then some ICERs have it. BITS Pilani has it. Triple IT Hyderabad, Triple IT Bangalore also have it. Okay. Now each hub has a different theme. For example, the hub at Kharagpur was supposed to be artificial intelligence. The hub at IIC Bangalore is robotics. Well, the hub at what do you call it? In Madras is dealing with communication. The hub at I think Delhi is dealing with robotics. The hub at IIT Bombay is dealing with IoT. At IIT Hyderabad, the hub deals with autonomous navigation. Okay. Now, I hope I will be able to show you some videos. Let me see if these videos work. So this is one of the first videos one did, at IIT Hyderabad. I don't know if you can. Are you able to see the video, ma'am?
Yes, yes, sir.
Were you able to hear the audio also?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good. So this is simply, very elementary thing. I'll just play a short one. The car is coming. The person is standing at autonomous vehicle, by the way. Nobody is driving it. And it honks and immediately stops on its own. So very simple demonstration at Tihan. What you see out here on the right-hand side is the Tihan building at IIT Hyderabad. It's more of a hangar, which looks like an aircraft hangar. Okay. This is another video you can see. Okay. So these are multiple vehicles going. So we have set up a test bed at IIT Hyderabad. Okay. And this is the work which is being led by Professor Rajlakshmi. Okay. So one vehicle comes, stops at the red light. Another autonomous vehicle comes and stops behind the first one at a safe distance. Of course, a lot of this is done at very low speeds right now. In time to come, they will be increasing the speed. This is the YouTube video. I'm not too sure if I'll be able to. Let me try. Okay, I have to stop sharing and share my YouTube screen. Do you have time to do all this, ma'am?
Yes, yes, sir.
You sure? Okay, so let me stop sharing this kind of for a moment, and I go to let's maybe share this. I'm able to share. I'm not able to get the. Are you able to see this? Hello, ma'am. Are you able to see the
Yes, sir, it
video?
is visible. Yes,
Sorry?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
This is, I won't go for full screen in case problem. So this is a autonomous golf cart that you can see which has been developed at IIT Hyderabad. Okay. And this is not just a demo. It was a demo at one time. Okay. Now it is a fully functional thing. This is going on the normal road. This is a test bed right now. It is not the normal road. Test bed looks like a regular road with traffic lights and everything at IIT Hyderabad. And now it is functional. The last 6 months it has been working on IIT Hyderabad campus, and people are actually using it. Students can actually go around, they can get into it. There is no driver, it has fixed stops. So it is not adaptive, it is kind of pre-programmed as to where it will stop. But if somebody crosses the road in the middle, it will stop and not hit the person, etc. And it's kind of working beautifully out here. It's not cheap. It uses sensors like lidars. Lidars are very expensive. It has an onboard computer. Okay, and the computer is not that. Basically laptops. So computing is not the cost out here. The main cost is what I would call. Let me go here and let me share my presentation screen. So be able to see this right now, huh? My screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So that is one part, Now these are other kind of drones which are there, which are based on what they call mimetic, basically bird-like drones, and these will have tremendous applications in defense. One has to make it even tinier than this. You can literally fly this across enemy territory. You have sensors on it, would be even very sharp imaging sensors, and you can get pictures of this, and the enemy will not know. The enemy will think it is some kind of a insect which is flying all over the place. But this insect is an artificial insect collecting all the data and bringing it back. In fact, it doesn't even have to bring it back. If it gets destroyed out there or shot down, so be it, because it has already transmitted that data through communication medium from this flying insect back to the base station. Okay, so we already have the data, and we can sacrifice one of these things because eventually this will be so cheap that you use it and throw it away. Let them shoot it down. This is going on. I hope, I think even DRDO is quite interested in this. Okay, these are heavy duty drones which are there. I don't have a video of this, so this is some work which is going on. Okay, and the whole idea of this heavy duty drone is to develop a passenger drone. So currently a passenger drone has been developed. I think last I saw a demo, I don't have the video clip of it. It can go between 60 to 90 kg of payload. So essentially one person can sit in the particular drone comfortably, and the drone can fly from point A to point B. I think soon I'm hoping there'll be a demo. IIT Hyderabad is approximately 2 kilometers lengthwise. Widthwise is little about 1.5 kilometers. So they are hoping to fly it lengthwise from maybe Tihan, which is the hangar. This is the inside of the hangar out here, and go all the way till the gate of the. This is way deep into IIT Hyderabad, the hangar here, and the gate is about 2 kilometers from this hangar. So hopefully something will come up soon. Now, let me talk about communication. How much time do I have, ma'am? Now it's already 12:20. Hello,
Yes,
hello.
sir.
How much time do I have?
So no issues of time, sir.
Sorry.
No, no issues for time, sir.
Issues for time. Okay. Okay, then I'll use some of it. Anyway, I think the student, I want to leave some time for Q&A. So what is happening is 6G is becoming very big. I talked a little bit about this. Okay. And this is the scenario which is going to emerge tomorrow. Okay. 5G is already there, which is essentially a terrestrial network. Satellite communication is coming in. So what I'm showing out here on the top are what you would call low Earth or orbiting satellites which are there. Okay. LEO ones which are out here. Okay. These is the ground stations which are there, and the ground station will be feeding into these satellites out here. These are not very big satellites, by the way. These are CubeSats. CubeSats are very tiny satellite, 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter. Unfortunately, ISRO has not taken a big step in CubeSats. We have very missions of which all of us are very proud. orbiting around the Mars. We have the Mars orbiter MOM. Then we have landed on the moon. More such missions are being planned, which is a great thing. But I wish ISRO would also spend certain resources, time, money, and human resource for CubeSat, because this is going to impact humanity much more in the near future. I'll talk a bit about this as we go along. Okay. This is the time span that one sees out here. It's a very dense slide. I mean, fine print, you may not be able to see as to how 6G is going about. We are in early 25. So we are around release 20, okay, of 5G. Okay. So 5G still will have some more advanced features coming in. Okay. And eventually, when we hit release 21, the next release, the big one, will be for 6G. And 6G will be there in the market in 2030. Now, it may not be there everywhere. India is usually slow on the takeoff. We may get 6G in 2031 or 2032, while countries like Japan, countries like Korea, some of the European countries and US may get 6G by 2030. You know, that is the hope. That's why the word here is 2030 plus. It may take a little longer also. We don't know. And it's a very complicated game. It's not simply technology. You develop your technology, you want to get your technology into 6G, and there are techno political battles that take place during what you call 3GPP meetings. Okay. Uh, from 5G to 6G. And what one wants is universal coverage. That is the main theme. Currently, universal coverage is difficult in India also. Simply, cities are very good. Even small towns are okay. Okay, for example, Sangli is fine, no problem. But you go to certain, say, Western Ghats, in the Ghats, you won't have the coverage. It's really difficult to get coverage in the Ghats. Okay, and similar areas. You go to Eastern Ghats, the same story. You go to Northeast India, certain cities in like Aizawl in Mizoram will have good coverage, but you go about 30-40 kilometers from Aizawl and you may not have good coverage. Okay. So this is a difficult thing to tackle, and partly because how far can you run the fiber? See, each base station has a fiber coming to it. Okay, I connect to the base station. Of course, you can say I can have a VSAT connectivity at the base station. Yes, but then you can't get the bandwidth. You can't get 5G because VSAT is not going to give you 5G. Okay, it is primarily given because of the fiber which goes to the base station, and that is possible in urban areas, in tier one, tier two, tier three, tier four cities also. Okay, simply because we have been able to take fiber. Government claims that they have been able to take fiber to the Panchayat Raj, but I don't think it's completely done. Still, we have a long way to go. So, how do we achieve that? There are various technologies that I talked about. I'll briefly run through it. Massive MIMO is one technology which is coming in to create very, very broad coverage. Extreme massive MIMO is what they call it, in fact. That's the big thing which is going on. Professor Kiran Kuchi is doing a lot of things at IIT Hyderabad. In fact, some of the slides were given to me by him. So they have set up, for example, a demo, a pilot, I should say, not just a demo. Basically, massive MIMO for about 48 users. Okay, per sector. And that's at a time, that's a fairly large number. Currently, we have about 12 users per sector. We want to go up to 48 users. We increase capacity. What massive MIMO does fundamentally is increase capacity. Okay, and this is the picture that you see is a setup out here inside a room. And the green thing that you see as a massive MIMO antenna, then this is also a massive MIMO antenna out here. Okay, and these are all kind of receivers, transmitters. So each box is a big one. Okay, each one of them acts as a receiver, the other one acts as a transmitter, the base station. Okay. Uh, what we have also worked on, and I think Kiran Kuchi and his team has worked on, is what they call distributed massive MIMO. Okay, the whole idea is that can we get away from a notion of cells, and that notion of cells kind of restricts it because the number of users are restricted, because each cell can accommodate certain number of users at a given time. Okay, and with the density in urban areas particularly increasing, often you see you don't get connectivity properly or your call is dropped simply because that particular cell can only accommodate certain number of users. Okay, so the concept that one is working on, and I think Kiran Kuchi is trying to push this concept for 6G and 5G advance at 3GPP. The whole idea is that there are no cells, as you see in this particular picture. Each of this vertical bar is a base station. Okay, in a way, this is a central processing unit, and they're all connected by fiber. So the whole idea is that as a user, Okay, I am connected to one of this base station, which is a vertical line out here, a vertical rod. This then data goes through fiber very quickly to the central processing units. The central processing unit decides what to do, what not to do, and accordingly, my call is being forwarded either to this particular station or through another fiber link or a satellite, high-speed satellite link to another central processing unit, which could be very far away, maybe in another country, maybe in another city. So whole notion of cell is being disrupted out here. This has we have demonstrated this using massive MIMO at IIT Hyderabad. I shouldn't say we, because I was involved with it at one time, but for the last few years I'm not involved with it. Almost 99% of the work is being done by Professor Kiran Kuchi, and his team. This is what I was talking about, CubeSat. Okay. This is the big thing. So each of this box that you see, the blue one, what I call as a CubeSat, okay, not I mean, that's what is called as CubeSats by researchers and by developers, is a 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter satellite, very tiny one, 10 by 10 centimeter cube. You can imagine how small it is. Okay. Initially, it was envisioned for education, but now suddenly they feel. So you can think of this each CubeSat as a base station in space. Okay. And what will happen is that you make a call, okay, say from the Western Ghats, so you don't have access to a terrestrial base station, but you can always reach to a space base station, say CubeSat. So signal goes there. CubeSat will do a handoff from one CubeSat to another CubeSat to another CubeSat, and from Western Ghats you can make a phone call to a person who is in the Alps. Again, Alps in Switzerland are highly mountainous. You don't have a fiber going out there. Satellite communication is what they can use out there. So that person is also on satcom, but you can go through this CubeSats, go through satellites. Maybe you can go through partly terrestrial on the way. You can be a mixed mode. Some packets can go through terrestrial, some packets through satellite, and eventually, okay, everything will kind of get connected, okay, to the person in the Alps, okay, using what you would call the satellite communication network. Okay. The interesting part out here is something. This was as part of a research work long time ago. Recently, it happened just a month or two ago. Vodafone, actually, you can check out this website. You can just do Vodafone sat phone coverage, okay, where they demonstrated that they can make exactly the kind of call that I talked about on an ordinary smartphone. See, you could make that call having a sat phone. In movies, you must have seen, these guys, the defense people will have a sat phone. They will remove a big antenna. It's a foldable antenna which goes up. The sat phone is very bulky, a very heavy thing, and then they make a call. Okay. So I keep joking. Currently, the sat phones are available only to either defense personnel or terrorists. Okay. They are the two groups which have it. You and I cannot have it. We need special permission for it, special approvals for it. But this is going to change, I think, very rapidly. Vodafone has already demonstrated, as they say, made a space video call from an area of no coverage in UK using a standard mobile phone and commercial satellites. These were not special satellites, so these were commercial CubeSats which were there. And what they are claiming, what Vodafone is claiming, that by 2026 end, bulk of Europe will have access to this technology. So by the end of 26, if Europe is going to have it, India is not too far behind. From what I hear already, the three providers in India, Jio has signed up with one satellite company abroad, Airtel has signed up with another satellite company, and of course Vodafone Idea, they already have it. Okay, so the issue is how does the spectrum allocation takes place. Unfortunately, here the spectrum allocation is much more complicated because people use the same spectrum, so it is like a shared spectrum technology, unlike in terrestrial network where spectral bands are allocated to each service provider and you auction for that particular spectrum band. So here, that is the debate which is going on in India. You might be reading in the papers. Starlink, Elon Musk is trying very hard to get into India and wants to have a very kind of a simple spectrum kind of a distribution system so that he can have his technology in India very rapidly. So it's a very different kind of. It's not simply a technology game. It is, I say, techno-political game which is going on right now. Now, the thing about Starlink, which is owned by Elon Musk, there are approximately about a million, little less than a million CubeSats in space, not a small number. And half of them, you know, 4,500 satellites, are owned, no, sorry, about, not a million, about a lakh, sorry, not million, about lakh satellites are in space, okay, and half of them, that is 4,000, 5,000, satellites. Am I giving the numbers wrong out here? Sorry. My numbers are all wrong here at the moment. I think there are about 10,000 satellite CubeSats in space, okay, and about 5,000 of them are owned by one company, which is Starlink. So 50%, okay, of the satellites, the CubeSats which are in space, are owned by one company. So they are very dominant company. Competing with them is not going to be easy. This 10,000 numbers, so I gave a very wrong number in the beginning. Sorry about that. It's neither 1 million nor 1 lakh. It's only 10,000. Okay, and 5,000 of them are owned by uh, 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 Elon Musk. Let me put it that way. So how do you compete when there is one company which owns 50% of CubeSats in space? A complicated problem. Okay, so again, it was a technological problem at one time. Of course, there is some amount of technology we need to develop, but the current problem is more of a techno-political problem. The other area, though not related to what you're doing, and I think it is something which Walton College should look at in terms of introducing courses, is clean energy. It's very big, Solar is there, wind is there. We all talk about it, circular economy, waste from plastic. But I'm very big on hydrogen. The world is getting very deep into hydrogen. EVs are there. I think in time to come, EVs will get replaced by hydrogen vehicles. Okay, so hydrogen, now some people are saying maybe cars may still remain EV, but the trains, buses, India has already developed a hydrogen bus, by the way. I think there is a startup company in Pune which has developed it, and I think it is being used. Tatas are also involved in it. Okay. And this is how things are happening. This is a slide shared to me by my colleague, Professor G.D. Yadav, the former director of ICT, that is Institute of Chemical Technology in Bombay, okay, Mumbai. So this is how he anticipates the hydrogen demand is going to grow over the years. Okay, it's going to be by 2050, hydrogen is going to dominate quite a bit. By 2040 itself, it will be quite a bit of domination. And he's kind of talking about the various uh, 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 components of it. Industrial energy. You're talking of buildings, etc., etc., where things are going to hydrogen is going to play a very, very big role out here. Okay, so let's see how and the world, particularly countries like Japan, to some extent Korea, Germany, are very strongly talking about hydrogen economy. It's not simply hydrogen vehicles or hydrogen, but overall economy will be governed by hydrogen. Like today's economy, to a large extent, is two component, right? Information economy. I'm including everything, quantum computing, AI, communication into information economy, and you have the gasoline, oil economy, because all our transportation is still based on oil. Okay, your air travel, your cars, bulk of it is there. These two are the dominant economies. The oil economy in time to come may get replaced by hydrogen economy. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, this is CRISPR that I was talking about. See, gene editing is a big thing, and finally this technology was developed, and the lady who developed it got a Nobel Prize at UC Berkeley. Do you know? You can look up, And quite often it goes under the name, the biological name called CRISPR-Cas9. Essentially, what this does is that suddenly it has created a technology where your genetic structure, you can view it as a word processor. See, what you do in word processor, I have a document, I can change letters, right? I can replace, if I make a spelling mistake, I can replace P with a B out there or a B with a P, depending on how I spelled it. Okay, so each character can be replaced. Now, what this technology does is you look at the whole genetic code. I can replace each component of the genetic code by doing gene editing. Okay, very similar to word processing. Or you can talk about word editing, and now what you have gene editing. Now, what is the positive part of it? The positive part is that if you have a genetic disease, like say Parkinson disease or Huntington disease, I can genetically modify the code in the human being, remove the gene which is causing Parkinson's disease, which is likely to cause Parkinson's disease when you get old, and you will not get that disease. Okay. So at birth, I can analyze the gene, remove those components, edit it so that the genetic deformities that may come in you as with age will not happen out there. Okay, many of them, I mean, many times one may say even, this cardiovascular disease that we get are genetic in nature. Quite often you'll see that people who are heart patients, there is a history of heart patients in their parents also, grandparents, etc., etc. Okay, so that can be taken care. So this is a big thing, and the big proof of this technology was a little while back. Okay, US FDA approved this technology for curing and for treating sickle cell disease. Sickle cell disease was a disease where the blood uh, uh, this thing cells are elliptic in nature. They don't develop fully. They are partly developed. They look like sickle. That's why the sickle cell disease. Most of us have blood cells which are circular in nature. Okay, they are fully developed or partially developed, and essentially it was that at one point you will die. People survived only by doing blood transfusion periodically, and that's not easy to maintain all the time. Sooner or later they die. Now they are saying that this is a genetic. Basically, it was known that it's a genetic disease, but you can cure the genetic disease using CRISPR. Now, FDA approving it is a big shot in the arm for this technology. And I think more and more approvals will from FDA will come for more and more genetic diseases of which all of us have something or the other. Okay, this is what I would say right now because of paucity of time. So I'll stop at this particular point. Okay, and I'll thank Walton College of Engineering. I'll thank Marathi also for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to share some of my thoughts with you. And I hope it was at least informative talk. I am open to any Q&A that you would have.
Thank you so much, sir. Any questions?
No questions. How come? It's okay.
Sir, I am Dr. Umbarkar
Hello, sir.
from
Yeah.
IT department.
Uh-huh.
Sir, what precautions or what suggestions you will give to all the teaching community
Uh-huh.
as the AIML is impacting the education, and
Right.
I mean, tendency of the student is not to attain the lectures, whereas they are using AIML tools.
Right.
So how we should go ahead with this problem?
And I think what will happen is you have to change your mode of teaching. See, this is a progressive thing. If you look at like when I, no, when I went to IIT Kanpur, they allowed us to use slide rule, but they did not allow us to use calculators. And calculators had just come in. Not all of us had access to calculators. Some people who had relatives in the US occasionally got that Texas Instrument calculator or an HP calculator. Okay, but as a rule, IIT Kanpur said you cannot use calculator. So you always have one technology behind, and that changed everything, right? When calculators came in, notion of calculation became very different. Computers had a big impact. Okay. So same way now AI is having a big impact because we are set in the way we were teaching. Okay, and our teaching is now disrupted. Why? Because of AI. People have to prepare nice reports. They can go to Chat GPT. They can prepare a rough report, give it to Chat GPT. Chat GPT will polish it and give you a very beautiful report. Okay, yes, that is there. So I think now we need to change our model of teaching. Okay, that is what I would say. Okay, so that's and in some sense the teaching cannot be imparting information. I think till recent times, I think things are changing, but slowly. It was imparting information. In fact, I used to ask my students way back. I think this was, I think, in 2007 or 2006 time frame. Okay, when MIT started this open courseware system. So what they did was all the PPTs that they used, okay, at MIT, they kept them in public domain, saying that anybody across the globe, if they want to look at my PPT, they can download it. And many times the PPT also had a audio with it. So I used to ask my two students, I used to teach, for example, I'm giving one item, say fast Fourier transform. So I used to ask my students, why are you coming to my class to study fast Fourier transform when you can study fast Fourier transform by Alan Oppenheim, who's the father of digital signal processing. He wrote a seminal book on DSP, which I think today also many of you may be using or reading it. Okay, it's a fantastic book. And I think now you have access to the PPTs prepared by Alan Oppenheim. So what do I do? It was a very hard thing for me to manage. But first thing I did was I had a big conversation with my students. And I said, look, if I were you, many times I will skip lecture saying, hey, I don't want to listen to Professor Desai. I'll go and listen to Professor Alan Oppenheim. Access is, and you can download it, by the way. It doesn't have to be online. I will download the PPT or the lecture on FFT by Alan Oppenheim and then listen to it. And Alan Oppenheim is much more famous, much more well known, much greater recognition in DSP than I have. Okay. The difference was that Alan Oppenheim taught the mechanics of FFT. So what I did was I did not teach the mechanics of FFT, how FFT is computed. Of course, I did that a little bit, but I focused on the evolution of FFT. I'm not saying I was very successful. That's a very hard thing to teach. The idea was how did people think about FFT? So what I did was rather than looking at how FFT was talked about in Alan Oppenheim's book, I went to the first original paper written by Cooley and Tukey. And how did Cooley and Tukey talked about FFT? How to use binary representation of numbers and then do manipulation on it. And that's how they came up with FFT. So essentially, I think the teaching has to now go from information imparting to evolutionary teaching. How did the idea evolve? I mean, it's very hard. Think of it this way. Suppose you're teaching Maxwell's equation, okay, and you want to now talk about the evolution of Maxwell's equation. That's a hard thing to do. The literature, all that, also is limited. You will have to, as a professor, spend a lot of time learning about the evolution of Maxwell's equation. How to talk about the mechanics of Maxwell's equation, how to solve Maxwell's equation, what are Maxwell's equation, that you can teach, and that is there in a lot of books. And AI can do a better job of teaching a student than you and I can. We have to accept that first. So we have to change. So our teaching will now become evolutionary, it will become collaborative. The teacher will become a mentor. Teacher is no longer a teacher in the conventional form. Very easy for me to say, very difficult for teachers to do it. I've been saying this for more than a decade. Even I've not been able to do it completely. I've done it partially, and the people and the young faculty I've talked to, they have also done it partially. So I think this is a debate that you should have and look at what world is, and you are not the only one going through it. The whole world is facing this particular problem. But then there are pluses also. For example, I've been working on one problem with colleagues from IIT Hyderabad. If you look at our schools, I'm not talking about colleges now. Okay, you do not have teachers. Even if you get an average teacher in a school in a rural area, and I'm not talking of Sangli. Sangli is to me a town. Okay, you go to a small village in some remote area. Okay, if in say tribal areas for the moment, if they first of all there are hardly any teachers in tribal areas, the same teacher is teaching everything. The teacher is teaching languages, one teacher is teaching math, physics, chemistry, everything. One teacher is teaching everything in some sense because there are no teachers. Moment the teacher becomes reasonably good, what will the teacher do? She will look for a job in a small town. All of us have done that, right? Our families came from villages. I moved to Bombay. Okay, and taught. I went to US. Many have gone there. So all of us look for greener pastures. So I don't blame the teacher. Moment the teacher becomes pretty good, like you guys are at Sangli. Okay, suppose you become good and you get into demand, you will move to Pune if you get a good job, won't you? I mean, suppose you get a job at one of the private colleges in Pune. Unless there are family compulsions, most likely you will move to Pune. So same thing. So the teachers, even if you get a reasonably average teacher is not going to stay there. So what we are looking at, and this is the problem came out because of discussions with some of the schools in rural areas, is can we develop AI tools? Okay, and you can also work on it. By the way, I'm not saying anybody can work on it. I'll give the problem to you, where you can learn say simple mathematics, arithmetic, not even let's not call it math, without a teacher. So the idea is that if I go in the morning, okay, I log into my computer. I'm a young student in class 4, as an example, or class 3, and moment an avatar comes up on the screen, and the avatar will talk to me. Hi Sunil, how are you today? Did you have good breakfast? It's literally one on one. What did you have for breakfast? You can say, no, no, I had an omelette or I had bread toast, I had, puri bhaji, then general conversation. Then, okay, today we will learn, how to do, for example, how to solve simultaneous equations. Okay, so there will be two equations, right? I'm maybe in class 4. I really don't know what is being taught in class 4. I have to now find out what it is. Okay, so let's look at, say, even simple addition, class 3. How to add, how to say divide numbers. So the avatar will talk about how to divide 21 by 7 and explain how the division is being done. And then the avatar will ask the student, okay, Sunil, now can you divide 49 by 7? Let me see how we can do it. So Sunil, we on a piece of paper do all that work and come and show to avatar. Oh, this is I have done it. The avatar will then tell, yeah, this is okay, this is not okay, this is fine, you did a good job, but this is where you missed. Let's try again. Okay, and you can go on now. Let's divide 56 by 7. What happens? Similarly, this basic math or basic arithmetic that we teach, my feeling is it can be taught without a teacher. And the reason I'm talking about is not to replace the teacher. No. The reason is there are no teachers in India in primary schools or in rural schools. So I have a small team of faculty at IIT Hyderabad who are interested. We are going very, very slowly. We believe we can do it. I would suggest those of you who are interested in AI, rather than looking at AI as an adversary, the students are not coming to class and being angry with AI, see if you can develop certain things, develop modules of AI to do some interesting things which can help society. And I think it can really help. And I think you perhaps are better placed. I know very little of rural schools. I really have to work hard and talk to them. For you, maybe access to rural schools might be easier. I really don't know. I'm just speculating on that. A long answer to a short question that you asked, Professor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, sir,
Okay.
for insightful and inspiring keynote. The area you covered in your keynote from 5G to satellite is tremendously vast and also in detail that made us curious to find more related with the concepts. So truly amazing session given us for a fresh perspective on innovations and inventions. On behalf of everyone here, we sincerely appreciate the time, wisdom, and energy you have shared with us today. Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful keynote session. Now it's time to conclude the inauguration ceremony. I request our registrar, Tamankar sir, to present vote of thanks for the session.
I thought you already did vote of thanks.
No, sir.
So, good afternoon, one and all. We are at the end of this inaugural function of international conference. On behalf of the institute, I will extend my privilege to take vote of thanks. So, first, our esteemed chief guest today, Mr. Vishwas Chitare, who is truly working in the interdisciplinary area, and he has given his valuable time and present for this particular question. So, I am thankful to them. I'm thankful to the keynote speaker, Professor U.B. Desai, for his again accepting the invitation and delivering of keynote with the valuable insight, which gives the audience complete future of this technology. Then I thank our management, our in-charge director, the conference chair, and the faculty coordinator for their guidance to this event happening. Special appreciation to organizing committee, reviewers, technical team, and volunteers whose hard work and dedication will ensure the smooth execution of this conference further. Also thankful to researchers who are coming here for their presentation and all. So I thank all the team who is working behind this also. So we conclude this session and carry out this further forward to knowledge the gain and collaboration to form the inspiration ignited in these past sessions. Thank you one and all. So I think lunch is arranged in the mess, boys mess. So all are requested to gather there at Chitnis mess at exactly 1:30. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you one and all. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, and all the best to you. Okay, all the best for the
Okay.
conference, all the best for all the research and teaching that you're doing at Walton. Bye.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.